Hello and welcome to WION World is One. You're watching the Climate Tracker with me, Hem Kaur Soroya. In India, the national capital region recorded its coldest May in 36 years. And while the dip in mercury was a welcome climatic shift for the residents, does this point to a more worrying climate change trend? We will try and find out. Let's begin. May, it's usually the hottest month of the year in India, but this year New Delhi and the national capital region witnessed a weather roller coaster. On the 4th of May, the Delhi NCR region recorded the temperature of 15.8 degrees Celsius, marking the coldest May morning in the capital in 41 years. In the beginning of the month of May, an untimely, rare climate phenomenon struck Delhi NCR and a thick layer of fog enveloped certain areas of the city. As per the Indian Weather Department, the often dry month recorded a total of 11 wet days, which was much higher than the average 2.7 number of rainy days in the capital. The lowest temperature ever recorded in May was 15.1 degrees Celsius on the 2nd of May in 1969. This year, rain caused by multiple western disturbances brought down the average maximum temperature for the month to 36.8 degrees Celsius and was the lowest recorded average temperature since 1987. Early May also saw hailstorms lashing parts of the national capital. These weather anomalies in May are not exclusive to this region of India. A detailed analysis of meteorological data reveals the shift in weather pattern as a part of climate change phenomena. Besides rising sea levels, glaciers around the world are melting at a pace unseen and recorded in human history. Countries around the world are experiencing more number of droughts, extreme heat waves, floods and storms, and this is affecting the livelihoods of people across the world. India witnessed its hottest February since 1901 this year. Maximum temperature that month touched 29.5 degrees Celsius. March was challenging too, as large portions of the country encountered hailstorms and unseasonal rain that resulted in significant damage to standing crops in various regions. Even during April, the Weather Department recorded actual rainfall in Delhi was 23% above the long period average for the month. According to the United Nations, the world is currently experiencing a faster rate of warming than any other recorded period in history. This sustained increase in temperature is causing alterations in weather patterns here. It is disrupting the long-standing balance of nature. Fossil fuels, including coal, oil and gas, play a predominant role in global climate change. They're said to be responsible for more than 75% of global greenhouse gas emissions and nearly 90% of all carbon dioxide emissions. These changes are taking place at such a rapid pace that even scientists are unable to predict what would come next. And despite the significant increase in climate action at both the multilateral and individual country levels, experts believe there might be something that is being overlooked here. Now for more on this, Dr. Vibha Dhawan, who is the Director General of the Energy and Resources Institute, joins us live from New Delhi. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me with you.
My first question to you, ma'am, how do you assess these unusual shifts in temperature? It's the coldest May in NCR. Is this a sign of a more worrying climate change pattern?
Absolutely. If you look at the last 1 year, what is happening not just in India, but I'll say internationally, all around the globe, we are really having the kind of extremes Sometimes it is raining, like you have seen floods in Bangalore, which was never heard of. We have seen that February was so hot that at one stage government even announced that we may land up to 40% less of wheat production. But happily, the climate or temperature again they became on the lower side, and we never suffered that much of loss. But it is something like that you really don't know what is in store, and it's the extremes. Like May and June was never like this, what we are having this year, but we don't know what is going to be the temperature, say, in October, November. So it is going to impact everything. So I'll say for some of the fortunate ones, yes, you have access to air conditioners, but then heat waves like few days back, like Calcutta was so hot. What do you do? And therefore, we are even, it's a threat to human life, and definitely it's a very big threat to other animals, the biodiversity that we have, and
Right.
more so for our crops and the crop production, food that we are getting from our fields, because
Right.
crop plants don't know where they have a fixed cycle. They need temperatures based on, or the varieties have been developed based on what kind of temperatures we are going to have in which month. So therefore, it's a major threat today.
Right, right, ma'am. Absolutely. That being said, what would you say is the need of the hour, and how can countries work at an individual level to stabilize climate and rein in such unpredictable patterns?
You're absolutely right in saying that what can we do? But let me tell you, climate change is a phenomenon which is not infected by one country. It's at international stage that we all have to act at the international level and ensure that we are able to control the temperature of this planet. We cannot afford to go, like we said, 1.5 degrees, 1 point, or 2 degrees. That is where perhaps we are going to stabilize. But even today, and what we are seeing today is the impact of increase of 1.15 degrees centigrade. Now, having said that we need global action, I'll also say that it is at individual level as well. Each stakeholder is impacted due to the changing climate, and each stakeholder contributes to the climate change. And that is where the initiative of the Honorable Prime Minister Life, that is, lifestyles for environment, becomes extremely important. Now, what each one of us can do. See, last few years, of course, everyone is talking about where is the climate finance. Definitely to make changes at the macro level, or even moving towards clean green energy, we require capex, and that is where the climate finance becomes extremely important. We are talking about it, but in a way, I'll say nothing has been put on the table.
Right.
The last also discussed about loss and damage fund, but we only talked about that there should be a fund. But what is loss and damage? What will qualify for that? And what is going to be the magnitude of the fund? Those things were not discussed.
Right. Right.
And that becomes important if we are talking of large scale kind of changes. When I say that the on the PM's program on life, somewhere over there it is that you and I can also contribute. So there it is that first of all we should be conscious of how our actions are contributing to climate change.
Right.
There are small little things, like I'll put it this way, the economic development, any one of us, if we have a little money or disposable money, the first thing is two-wheeler and then four-wheeler and then the second car and then the uh, SUVs and bigger cars. That is what is getting added to the way we live.
Right.
Air conditioning. Air conditioners, in a way, I should say 20, 30 years back, there won't be that the max you'll have one AC at home, but today every room has air conditioner,
Right.
and even in villages it has found its penetration. So therefore, all these things somewhere they are resulting in islands of heat being developed,
Right.
and that is like then the temperature becomes even higher, and therefore the need for air conditioners become all the more, and it's a vicious cycle in which we are getting in.
Right.
So we are consuming more and more energy. We may say India as a country, we say that per capita consumption of energy is less, but some of us, I'll say, for us, perhaps consumption is as high as an average American. So therefore, we also have to cut down.
Right, right.
We also have the mobility, like we talk about aviation sector perhaps to be the most polluting one, but then air travel is becoming more affordable and most of they are traveling by air.
All right. All
So
right.
individual action is also to be very carefully used.
All right. Dr. Dhawan, thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast with your insights on this.
Thank you.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.